train or the surrounding area, she's more than able to answer all of your questions. Yours truly, John, will be doing the narration as we go back towards Hill City. We have two folks aboard the 1880 train. They'll be selling refreshments. That's Madison and Megan. They'll be selling pop, both diet and regular, popcorn and candy. At this time, I'd like to give you our safety requirements before we leave the depot. First and foremost, we'll be traveling about 10 miles from Hill City, Keystone to Hill City. For that reason, there is no walking throughout the train, much less between 2,700 gallons of water are carried in the number 110 in the back. Behind the engineer and fireman is where they carry the recycled motor oil. That recycled motor oil is used because in the Black Hills National Forest it is illegal to use coal or wood because they produce sparks and of course cause forest fires. So therefore we use recycled motor oil. Who knows, we may be running on your last oil change. Once we're in that coupling mode, we'll be asking you folks to take a seat. It doesn't have to be a permanent seat, but at that time it'll be important that everybody take a seat because when that 222,000-pound engine makes contact with the Keystone car, it can be a blurring experience.
So Tori, this is what the Ingalls family took from Old Lake Road to just like this. Well, maybe not just like this, but very similar.
It actually was named after Edward Gillette, the gentleman that actually surveyed the mining route that you're about to take a ride on. At this time, we're about ready to leave the depot, so everyone should take a seat. All right, Conductor Dennis has given us the all aboard, so please sit back and relax aboard the 1880 train as we travel towards Hill City at the staggering speed of 10 miles an hour.
Folks, can you get your tickets, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. They don't give us sharp things anymore.
Yeah, thanks.
As the train pulls out of the station, look around at the granite peaks and thick ponderosa forests that surround you. Although the Black Hills were supposed to be the protected territory of the Lakota and Cheyenne Indians, off limits to white settlers, an Army expedition led by George Armstrong Custer turned up gold a few miles south of here in 1874. Within months, there were thousands of miners, mule skinners, madams, gunslingers, and gamblers swarming across the landscape, eager to get their hands on some of the shiny yellow metal. The community of Keystone, like many towns in the Black Hills, was originally founded to serve these ambitious prospectors. Keystone lies very near the geographical center of the Black Hills. The Black Hills regions cover over 2 million acres, an area roughly the size of Delaware. Half of that is the Black Hills National Forest, the first national forest in the United States. The entire mountain range spans about 120 miles, from the southern tip to the north and about 60 miles east to west. Gold mining camps dotted the sides of this gulch as early as 1875, although Keystone wasn't founded until the turn of the century. Today, Keystone is filled with hotels, restaurants, museums, and gift shops that entice travelers on their way to Mount Rushmore National Memorial, located just a few miles away. As we leave Keystone and enter the Black Hills National Forest, note the markers that line the tracks along our journey. The black and white markers are milepost signs, and the red and black markers indicate a point of interest. Be on the lookout for these signs as we travel toward Hill City. To learn more about the fascinating equipment and history of the 1880 train, guides to the history, equipment, and operations of the Black Hills Central Railroad are for sale for $3 from an attendant. The guidebook has a wonderful map in the back that details the points of interest and the route.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hill City. Good mile. Good mile.
million metric tons of water falling on Black Hills within a matter of hours. The 1972 flood washed away hundreds of homes and businesses built along area creeks, making it one of the most expensive and difficult floods in American history. Waters washed away all the creeks back into Keystone proper. Off to your left, in the shadow of 5,500-foot-high Old Baldy Mountain, is the community of Lafferty Gulch. It was once a company town for the workers and a big feldspar quarry. It's now a group of summer homes. find a number of minerals, including lepidolite, spongium, feldspar, mica, barite, cassiterite, columbite, amphibolite, and tourmaline. Also used in a made-for-TV movie titled Orphan Train in the late 70s. For those who have seen the HBO series Deadwood, the 1880 train made a number of special excursions to the Wild West town from Hill City before the rail line to Deadwood was abandoned. The rail bed was converted into the Mickelson Trail, named after our late South Dakota governor. The Nicholson Trail is a 110-mile mecca for hikers, bikers, and wildlife watchers. If you have time, make sure to take advantage of this wonderful Nicholson Trail. More recently, the 1880 train has been featured in a music video called Love Train by the country singers Big and Rich. It was also used in a Steven Spielberg TV miniseries called Into the West.
Very shortly, Marcia will be coming up to the Keystone car, which is right behind the engine, giving you folks the first opportunity to take a look at our small 36-page booklet entitled All Aboard the 1880 Train. This booklet features the history of the mining rail that you're currently riding on, the cars that you're riding in, and if you'll notice at the end of the car that you're facing with a door, to the left of that door above it, you'll see the name of the car you're in, and many times over top of the door, the number of the car. I say that because that way you can look up information on the particular car that you're riding in. And as well as Jim in the Box, who will be giving you some facts and historical facts about these passenger cars as we travel towards Hill City. Also, the big 110 engine, the only one in the world still running. These books are on sale for $3, 2 for $6, so we're running a pre-Labor Day special of 3 for $20. Between seats, much less between cars, is not permitted. This area off to the right is known as the Cliffs. They're quite unique in that they're made of hardy granite, which is not only dense but carvable. Two illustrations of that would be Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse, as well as Harney Peak. In the early spring, quite often we'll see an orange or a red or a yellow rope dangling down. People who are heading out to the Rockies to do some serious mountain climbing will quite often stop by here just to get themselves a little practice. Coming up on our right, just past the next railroad crossing, you'll see a small horse ranch. I say small because it has the total occupancy of 2 horses. But what makes it unique is if you'll look on the front of the barn, it's a certified brand that they have put on the front of the barn. It has a 2-leg on its side, but also a 2 upside down. That stands for the lazy 2, crazy 2. Coming up on the left, Elkhorn Mountain, 6,200 feet on your left. On the right side of the rail is a small summer home of Dome Robinson, who was a South Dakota statesman that always had the visions of the carvings in the Black Hills. He got together with a gentleman by the name of Gus Borglund, who was the actual sculptor for Mount Rushmore. Between the two of them, Mount Rushmore exists today. You'll notice in the back of that house a very unique garage, two gigantic rocks that are covered with sheet metal. That's their garage. Coming up shortly, Jim in the Box will be giving you a lot of information about the passenger cars you're riding in. Please again note the name of the car that you're riding in to the left of the door you're facing and above the door.
Orville, Keystone, and Addie Camp. The American Car Company built these cars for the Oregon Electric Railway in 1913. Later, the cars were sold to the Great Eastern Railway in British Columbia. The Black Hills Central purchased these cars from the Veronian, South Park, and Sunset Steam Railroad in the mid-1970s. Cars 125 and 112, Keystone and Orville, have been completely restored by the staff at the Black Hills Central Railroad. Make sure you peek inside each car. Car 144, Red Fern, was originally built as a baggage car. The Oregon Electric Railway converted it to a passenger coach in 1915. It was modified as an observation coach for the Black Hills Central in 1998. Coach 140, Missy, was also rebuilt as an observation car in 1999. Car 91, Rochford, started out as a Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy car to carry ice and water for track crews. It now provides a comfortable ride for 52 passengers. Coach number 10800, Kilyo, is one of the most interesting cars used by the Chicago and Northwestern Railway. It was called a Drover's Way car. Ranchers and stock owners that accompanied their cattle during shipment to market used Drover's cars ahead of the regular way car or caboose. Black Hills Central Railroad Shop restored this car in 1998. Only 2 of these cars still exist in the United States. Was originally a logging camp that served mining operations throughout this gulf. The spur you see leading off to your left was an elaborate system built in the 1950s to handle both narrow and standard gauge trains. The Oblivion area was later used as one of the sets for the movie The Orphan Train. 7,242 feet, Harney Peak is the highest point in the Black Hills and tallest mountain in North America east of the Rockies. Although the Black Hills are only 130 miles away from the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains, they are a completely separate formation. The 2-billion-year-old rocks you see around you are much older than the 20-million-year-old slopes of the Rocky Mountains. Building. It was known as the Good Luck Tungsten Mine. Flourished during both World Wars. Tungsten was used to harden steel. Addy Camp was located at the mouth of Palmer Gulch, which you're now leaving. A number of small placer mining operations existed here in 1875, and the ruins of some larger industrial mines dating to the 1930s are found on the Northwest Ridge, which is off to your right.
This abandoned home that you see out in the middle of the field actually was the home of a lady by the name of Elizabeth Blight. She was a teacher in the area and lived in that home for some 70 years without running water or electricity. If you look off to the extreme right of that home, you'll see on the hill a cave. Actually was her coal cellar where she put her food in the summer so that it wouldn't spoil, wintertime so it wouldn't freeze. You'll see an abandoned miner's shack with a partially decomposed building in the back. What makes it even more unique is the fact if you were to look straight out of the front of that abandoned miner's shack, you'd see a ponderosa pine with his mine shaft below that ponderosa pine. If we're coming towards the railroad track, but it would be on the right side as you walk towards the track. Beneath that ponderosa pine. Of course, the miner's shaft is now boarded up.
white man on Harney Peak was Dr. Valentine McGillicuddy. He was appointed Indian agent on the Rosebud Indian Reservation, and he even ministered to Chief Crazy Horse when he died. Dr. McGillicuddy was a strict agent, but he was very fair to the Indian people and respected by the Lakota. He later moved to Rapid City, was a bank president, mayor, and delegate to South Dakota Constitution Convention. His ashes are entombed in the Rock Lookout Tower on top of Harney Peak. Approaching the top of Tin Mill Hill, so named because a huge tin processing facility was erected here by the Harney Peak Company. If you look to your right, you can see the grade of the Tin Mill Railroad spur that led west to the mill. This spur divided into two lines, so loaded cars of ore could pass over one hopper, then be shunted out of the way until all the cars were unloaded. Then the empties were hauled back to the Addy mine, which you just passed. As we descend Tin Mill Hill, you'll notice the track gets quite steep. The grade of the track deviates from 4 to 6%, making this one of the steepest railroads in the United States. This puts considerable strain on the locomotive when departing Mill City for Keystone.
Trash recycling. Trash recycling.
Folks like trains and history, all of us here at the 1880 Train would like to invite you to visit the South Dakota's newest attraction, the South Dakota State Railroad Museum, located right next to the depot in Hill City. The museum features history and memorabilia related to trains from 1870 to current day in South Dakota. There are many special exhibits, but the one that comes to mind is a timeline rail that's 8 foot high by 70 foot long. With your 1880 Train ticket, the adult admission is $4. Children and under, or 12 and under, are free. If Hill City's your destination, we sure have enjoyed having you folks aboard the 1880 Train. If you're ever in this area again, please come back and see us. This is the lunch hour for our staff, therefore everyone must depart the train and we will reboard at 1 p.m. The depot is open for any last minute gifts or souvenirs that you might be looking for. And of course the bathrooms are open, but they're a little bit different than they are in Keystone. They're in a separate building. The Highliner snack bar is open. They are serving pulled pork, chicken sandwiches, hamburgers, hot dogs, pretzels, nachos, ice cream, and assorted beverages. And if you're returning to Keystone with us and would like to bring your lunch aboard the 1880 Train, of course that is permitted. As you get up to leave the train, please look around for any personal effects you may have left. Also, if you wouldn't mind, grab the back of the seat that you're sitting in and flip it so that if you sat in that same seat again, you you'd be facing Keystone. In order to depart this train, those of you that are in the Keystone, right behind the engine, you folks will have to get up, turn around and walk to the back of the car you're in, turn left and walk down the stairs towards the depot once we're in the depot. For those of you in the Edward Gillette, you folks will have to walk forward to the entrance exit and turn right and walk down the stairs towards the depot once we're in the depot. For the remainder of the passenger cars, you folks can go out either end of the train car you're in, again turning towards the depot and walking down the staircase towards the depot. However, in all cases, our staircases are quite steep, so please remain seated until we get into the depot and then walk down the staircases using the handrails. Thank you. As the 1880 train passes by the Holiday Inn Express, we'll cross over the 20th Railroad Crossing. That's Old Hill City Road or County Road 323, the one we've crossed over 20 times as we've departed Keystone and coming into Hill City. Gave us quite a few pieces of information about movies that have been done on the 1880 train. What he did not tell you is the engine number 7 on the right side as we enter into the depot. That's the engine that's been used for all of the movies, and even more recently some movies where they took that train down to New Mexico. Please remain seated until such time that the engineer gives you a signal on when it's safe to get up to depart the train. That signal will be one whistle. If you've not been to the depot in Hill City, coming up on the right is the Highliner snack bar, followed by the bathrooms which have the skylights in the roof. Beyond that is the depot.
Firmly on the ground. Thank you for traffic.
The building you cannot see beyond the depot is the museum. And thanks for traveling with us aboard the 1880 train. Thanks for your cooperation, folks. It's now safe to depart.